Documenting the current status of HR or reporting the impact of HR policies on the employees and the performance of the organization is one of the major functions of HR. And all this comes under the heading of HR reporting. So let us see what it is all about. HR reports are made on the basis of few frameworks, and these frameworks are divided into three types. When we say frameworks means what exactly are the steps or variables which are taken care of while creating those reports. So these frameworks can be either provided by the technology vendors, the ones which are creating that software on the basis of which those reports are generated. For example, SAP is one which has the HR related modules. Now, whatever is the algorithm behind that module is defined by the vendor themselves. Then there can be frameworks which are created by research and are supposed to be the ideal frameworks to be followed by the organizations. These are known as normative frameworks, and the other ones can be designed by the in house research of the organization. The HR team may come up based upon their own understanding of the data which they have, that what kind of framework suits them best. So, this kind of empirical framework will vary from one organization to the other. Let us take an example of one of the normative frameworks, and which is known as, or rather, the acronym is LAMP. L stands for logic, A for analytics, M for measures, and P for process. So, this framework suggests that first take care of the logic, what you want to represent while taking the decision, then all the analytics tools, the measures, and then go for the process of finding that data out and how that data will move from one office to the other, and what process will you follow to come to that the metric, and how will that metric be related to other things. So that's a long drawn thing. You can just understand that there is a framework which is generally hidden behind the data which you see, the report which comes in front of you. There's a process followed behind that report. There are certain assumptions which are behind that report. So that is what the framework is, and that definitely affects what is reflected in the report. Now, we need to understand another term which is HR metric. Now, HR metric is the measurement which is determined which determines the value and effectiveness of HR initiatives. So, whenever there is any HR activity, any HR process, policy, initiative, you have to find out one particular variable, I would say, or which will be considered as the HR metric. So, this metric will get measured. People will want to know the value of that metric. Is that going up? Is that going down? That metric will reflect the impact of the policies. So, cost of labor, expense per employee, etc., are some of the major HR metric. We'll talk about these metrics as an example in later slides also. Now, what metric you consider and how do you collect the data will depend upon two things. Either you are reporting for descriptive decision making, or you are creating your report for predictive decision making. If you are talking about descriptive decision making, if your company is collecting all the HR data just to get an insight of what has happened in the past, then in that case your HR report will collect all the backend data to give you a picture of what has happened before. But if your organization decides to have a report which helps them in making a decision for future, then in that case you will collect those HR metric which help you to do so. For example, let's see this. If we are talking about descriptive and predictive reports, So if your report talks about the number of hours an employee worked in the last week, then obviously you are collecting data on the number of hours it has worked. Or if you are talking about predictive, then in that case you will like to know uh, how many hours one works, and then what kind of salary would that person need. Okay, so what is more important is to understand that whether your organization wants to make a prediction for future, or it simply wants to know what has happened before. For making predictions for the future, also we will need some data uh, on what has happened before. But that will only be required to create that model, that predictive model, which will give you the value for future. But when we are talking about descriptives, we are not interested in using that data for creating a model for prediction in the future. We just look at that data which now cannot be changed, which is the data of the past, and we just look at that and take a decision, take a call on that. So if you want to know that what's the trend of Neha's merit rating in the last 3 years, so you get that Neha's rating for last 3 years and then stop at that. That is your descriptive report. But when you want to make a predictive report, then what do? You use that data of last 3 years or maybe even before that. Then you try to come up with some kind of a formula, some kind of an equation which helps you to predict what may be the merit rating which this person might get next year. Based on that, you might like to provide some training to improve in case if that merit rating is going down. Then you will take a call that what kind of training can be provided to this person so that the person improves. How are these two reports different? So descriptive report is a lot about hindsight. It will talk about dashboards, metrics, ratios, slicing, dicing, etc. It's mainly for tracking and monitoring. Whereas predictive reports are talking about the likelihood of something happening, probability, and if there are certain hidden patterns in the data, it would like to come up with that pattern. And for predictive modeling, we definitely require mathematical models and statistical forecasting. HR reports and HR dashboards are generally used as a tool for reporting, and it looks something like this, which is generally puts all your data at one place, and in a bird's eye view, management can see the important metrics and important figures rather than going through the whole lot of raw data which is there collected at every point in the organization. Management wants to know the exact figure of certain metrics so that they can see if there's any correlation or is there any trend, and they can make a decision based on that. Major functions of the HR report. One thing obviously is basic, that is reporting. They want to tell what are the details of the manpower which are there working with the organization. Monitoring can be one. Then management information system is provided by the report, and then report can also be a method to track the problem area. So if you have been documenting everything for quite some time, if there is any problem, that also gets documented. Talking about HR reports, either the report can be reactive, that is created when the management asks for it, or it can be a proactive report where you are creating a report as and when the data comes in. The moment the data pours in, you are creating a report, and which is actually more in time, just in time kind of a report. Then there can be static reports made on paper. So once the report is made, nothing can be changed. Whereas dashboards can be created, which can be interactive in nature. And there is a possibility of trying to look at the dashboard with respect to change in one variable or the other. This is very important to note that HR reporting is considered as a hygiene factor. What does that mean? That actually means is that if good reports exist, then nobody will bother about them. Nobody would notice them. But if there are errors in the report, then it will escalate into a lot many problems. So it's just like, breathing. If you're able to breathe well, nobody notices it, right? And I mean, it's taken for granted. But if there is any little problem in breathing, then obviously all the attention goes there and every other work gets affected. So is the HR reports. They are taken for granted. They have to be there. There has to be no error into it. But if there is any one single error, that will get reflected in a lot of activities. Let's say you just miss an employee's name. Now, if that employee's name goes missing, then obviously a lot of other reports which are getting generated, a lot of other activities may get affected and may snowball into huge things. I mean, maybe that name goes off from the salary list or promotion list, or the complaints being filed by that employee are not taken care of, they are not noted anywhere. That may also create problems. Even the company may be sued. So, accurate reporting is not only nice to have, it is actually a must have. What are the different metrics which can be used in the HR report? Several. Seniority is one of them, when the employee joined and how many years did he work. Then gender, then age, education level, function types. Now, when we are deciding upon the metrics which are to be included, we have to understand that that metric should add value to the organization, or some kind of HR process is based upon that. You don't use a metric in the report for the sake of using it. Education level is one. So, if education levels are not necessary for the organization to be recorded, for example, in educational institutions, it is necessary to have people with doctoral degrees. Hence, it is important variable. The education level should be recorded. But in case if there is such organization which does not require to mention the education level, there also if we are mentioning education level, then you are simply trying to boast yourself. That's it. So we have to understand what metric needs to be used. Or full-time employees, how many FTEs are there? That means number of hours which make a full-time. So if it is 8 hours working per day, so how many employees are working 8 hours per day? That becomes full-time employees. There can be more number of people than FTEs. So the people who are not FTE but they are still working, they are part-time employees. How many employees are active, what is the turnover rate, how many new hires are employed, then how many absences or sick leaves are taken, or any other kind of absence which is there. Then what is the cost of absence? This is also one of the metrics which is important as far as finances are concerned. Cost of labor or manpower cost is another metric which is very important. And you will see that the cost of manpower, it can be direct or indirect cost. So the salaries, the incentives, all these put together are the manpower costs. Training costs, recruitment cost, time to fill, these are all the different metrics, and there are a lot many which all cannot be put up in those slides. These were a few major ones. Then we come to the HR dashboard, which are interactive reports. And HR dashboard is something like it. This is one on sickness and leave. So for every aspect, you can have a separate dashboard depending upon how detailed do you want that, how detailed that dashboard needs to be, and what all elements do you want to get reflected in that. This is a dashboard on diversity, which talks about the head counts, then levers, but in every case, they are trying to segregate it between males and females. So when you talk about the people who joined in different years, how many were males, how many were females, currently, how many are males, how many are females, those who left, how many are males, how many are females. So depending, I mean, if your company needs this kind of data, it's good. If it doesn't, then you don't need to go into that. A few relevant pointers while talking about the HR report. One thing, try to automate your report as much as possible, because every time creating manual reports is going to take a lot of effort. Your report should be automated in such a fashion that the moment data changes real time, the real time impact gets reflected in the dashboard. Then take up only relevant information. There is huge amount of information, and here we are not talking of the big data even. We are just talking about the static information which is available regarding the HR. All that information need not be reflected in the report. But if you are able to reflect an information which actually solves problem for 80% of the questions, then that is good enough. And then if there are mistakes in your report, then you have to go back to the source and correct that at the source level itself. And always put up accurate data in the report. Otherwise, it is simply useless. As we talked about, it is a hygiene factor. So everything has to be accurately reflected in the report, because nobody is going back to check the raw data all the time. Report is what everybody will refer to, and hence it needs to be very, very accurate. So this was it about HR reporting.